Hey, what's up everyone? JJ here and welcome back to the channel. In today's video, we're going to look at the LEGO Collectible Minifigures Series 29 figures. In this video, we'll look at all 12 of those figures. I will rank them from worst to first. I'll talk about kind of the detailing as well as all the accessories that I like. And I'll bring in a lot of minifigures from previous CMF series as well as previous themes to kind of compare similarities and differences. But let's jump right in now and take a look. CMF Series 29 retails for $4.99 in the US. They come in these orange blind boxes, and each one of these boxes will give you one of the 12 unique characters from this minifigure series. Each figure also comes with this checklist, so you can see each of the 12 minifigures that you can get. On the back of each checklist, there's kind of an instruction sheet that shows you how to connect some of the more complicated pieces for some of the minifigures. While these figures do come in these blind boxes, there are a variety of apps you can download to kind of scan the box to see which character is inside, which is really helpful when you're trying to make a complete set, but as I'm sure you can imagine, it also makes some of the characters harder to find if people are really searching for a few characters, either for army building or unfortunately to resell. So for this series, I would say the Bionicle Cosplayer, so kind of the top right, the second one in, as well as the mysterious Ronin, so number 11 there on the bottom, are probably the two most sought after that are probably the hardest to find right now. Next, I would put number 4, the Monster Fighter, and then bottom right, number 12, the Unicorn Elf. Those are the 4 that I have seen the least of the 12. LEGO.com website also sells these 6-packs of minifigures, and as you can see here, they kind of have 6 in there. As far as I know, you're guaranteed to get 6 unique characters. I ordered 3 of these 6-packs, and I initially thought I would just get some doubles of boxes, but box 1 gave me 6 unique characters. I was lucky that box 2 gave me 6 unique characters that were also different from box 1, so I had a full set of 12. And then my third box I thought would just be a repeat of box 1 or 2, but it was actually, I got 2 repeats from box 1 and then 4 repeats from box 2. So there are at least 3 variations of these boxes. I guess maybe there's 4, but this was kind of a nice way. I usually start, if I can't go to the LEGO store right when these release, I try and order a couple 6-packs, and that usually gets me close to the full set. Right, we're going to jump in now and take a look at each of these figures from worst to first, keeping in mind that these are kind of my personal opinions of the figures. There are some that are really awesome that just don't really fit in with the type of scenes and displays that I set up in my LEGO room, or that for whatever reason I don't like. But we're going to jump right in now and look at who I would rank as the 12th minifigure from this CMF series. For me, I would definitely rank the soccer goalkeeper in 12th place. I think it's a really nicely detailed figure. You can see there's lots of printing there on the legs as well as the torso. And here you can see kind of some of the dual molding and the detailing there on the side of his legs. I do also really like the gradient technique there with his jersey. However, the figure's just a bit basic compared to some of the other really cool figures we see with CMF Series 29. I like the detailing there on the soccer ball. I like the hairpiece they used for him, and I like his facial expression. Ultimately, it makes sense to include this character, with the World Cup, as well as kind of all those new LEGO soccer kind of buildable people they just made. So I'm happy they included him. I'm happy to have him. I don't need doubles of this guy, but he's definitely last for me. And I don't love that the beard from his alternate face print kind of shows here on the back, but I do quite like that alternate face print just as a face print. So I think kind of works really well, kind of the more extreme and kind of more neutral facial expressions. Now, we have seen soccer goalkeepers before in the early 2000s with that LEGO soccer set, but I think we can all agree the detailing far surpasses those figures here with the CMF Series 29 figure. And many of those early soccer minifigures, they actually came with a sticker sheet, so you would put on the front kind of the team, you could change the country and a few different options, and then on the back you can choose the number. Because this minifigure with CMF Series 29 comes with so few accessories, I think it would have been cool maybe to include some stickers to change his number on the back. Although I know people prefer prints over stickers, and that's one way we could have made this figure a bit more interactive. And in terms of where to display this minifigure in my LEGO city, I do have the entire LEGO soccer field with the various teams, so I'll most likely put him somewhere around there with the referee in the CMF series you saw a few years back. And for me, the next minifigure on my list would be the Boba Fan girl. All in all, I like the idea for this minifigure. I just don't love the execution. Of course, the best part is going to be that removable Boba Cup costume, if you will, in that translucent pink. I really like the printing there, as well as kind of some of the bubbles there on the bottom of the cup. But the figure is a little bit lackluster. I do like her face print. I don't like how there's no printing on the torso or legs, and her accessory of a cherry, I think, isn't super great. She does have a fun alternate face print. Here we can see with those heart-shaped glasses, but it isn't quite enough to save this character for me. And because they chose this translucent pink for the Boba Cup, you can actually see the alternate face print from the back, which is a bit jarring, not something you expect to see. Luckily, if you put the glasses on the back and you're not looking hard enough, it could just look like the character's glasses are kind of on the back of their head, which is still a bit strange. We have gotten a few minifigures in the past advertising for various things, food related. And so some of the detailing on those earlier figures I would expect to be less than what we saw with the Boba Fan girl, but that just isn't the case. For instance, if you look at the kind of pizza guy, he has a really cool detailed, pizza body hat, similar to the Boba Cup. But then he also has really great printing there on his legs, and his accessory is a printed tile for selling the pizza, which again, is just much stronger. And then of course we get the guy in the carrot suit for the farmer's market. He obviously has that sign. He came with an alternate hairpiece to take the carrot piece off, and there is some printing on his torso. There you can see that torso printing is to make the overalls, and there you can see his hairpiece, which I don't think I actually have in that bright orange outside of this minifigure. So all in all, I like the idea for the Boba Cup Fan. It just needed a lot more detailing for me on probably both the legs and the torso, as well as an additional hairpiece that you could put on the figure when you take that cut piece off. I would have taken that, or an updated accessory potentially too. And for me, in 10th place will be the Robo T-Rex. I know this might come as a surprise to some people who really like this character, and I do agree this minifigure has really awesome detailing. You can see it here on the torso, the legs, even kind of some great detailing there on the headpiece. And here we can get a better view of the detailing on the legs and the arms. Also some back torso printing, as well as some really great detailing there on the tail. And like I said, you can see the printing there on the headpiece as well. So it's nice to see that LEGO, on some of these oddly shaped headpieces can get pretty detailed with the printing. This figure does have two face prints, one when his mouth is open, and one here when his mouth is closed. This minifigure also comes with kind of a little battery there in orange with the, the plus and minus. He did come with an extra one of those kind of silver round pieces, so I just put both of them on top. All in all, I like this figure. It just doesn't really fit into the types of sets that I collect, the displays I make with my LEGO City. So for me, it doesn't make too high on my list, as this is not a character I'll be seeking out doubles for. One thing I do really like about this figure is how it is essentially an incomplete reprint of the T-Rex figure we saw in an earlier CMF series. I think a lot of these dinosaur pieces are quite unique, and I'm all for kind of recoloring them and reusing them. So while the T-Rex, the Robo T-Rex didn't really do it for me, seeing this recolored in like a dark green, for instance, would have been really cool. We have seen quite a few dinosaur costume minifigures recently, so a little bit different than the Robo T-Rex. I usually display those characters outside of my natural history museum. Maybe I will put the Robo T-Rex kind of in the background there. I haven't fully decided where he's gonna land. Coming in at 9th place for me is the Marine Biologist. Speaking of a character that has lots of cool accessories, I really like, of course, that new clownfish piece. There's going to be a printed tile we'll look at a bit more in just a moment. She comes with flippers, a piece for coral, and just this really awesome new dual molded, sculpted goggle and hairpiece. Looking here first just at the minifigure and the torso printing, I really like the printing there on the torso and legs for the wetsuit. I like how it kind of keeps both the hands as well as the feet yellow. Here on the back, we can see the dual molded legs as well as some of the printing there on the back torso. I really like the detailing there of the zipper, and there we can see the alternate face print as well. I really like what LEGO did here with the kind of combination of that face mask and the hairpiece. It just makes for a really, really unique piece. And while this isn't a piece or character I need a ton of in my LEGO City, it definitely puts her above some of the other ones we've looked at earlier. That fluorescent coral piece is a really nice inclusion. It could be coral, it could be a sea anemone. I'm not really sure. Maybe a sea anemone based on Finding Nemo. That is a new molded piece there for the clownfish. Looks really, really good. And then there we see that printed tile with the clownfish, a pen, and then it says 106, which I think is a reference to the orange color of that clownfish piece, but I'm not certain about that. So all in all, this is not a character that, I'm super excited for. I don't need doubles of. Displaying her in my LEGO City, I have two options. Right now, she is diving into the water outside the Great Deku Tree. However, if I get the Italian Riviera, I can definitely put her outside of the scuba shop. The character that she is most similar to, of course, is the Series 20 diver. Similar to that figure, of course, we see, the wetsuit, the flippers, an animal. That one had a turtle. This one has the clownfish. But what makes this one really, really cool and stand out, like I said, is that combination of the hair and goggles, which I think is just really, really neat. So these are my bottom 4 minifigures from CMF Series 29. And in general, I really like each of them, which I think really just speaks to how strong this series of minifigures is for CMF Series 29.
I do have doubles of the Marine Biologist, which was an accident. I thought I had separated my piles of who I had one, who I had two of. So I am going to display kind of the additional clownfish and sea anemone piece with her. But the other three, I am happy with just the one in my collection. Coming in at 8th for me is going to be the Trash Monster. I know this is probably pretty controversial. I've seen people put this at the #1 character on their list, but ultimately this guy just grosses me out. As a figure, I can appreciate and respect the level of detailing that we see on the legs, the arms, the torso, but he's just kind of nasty. One thing that's really cool is the detailing on the arms and legs are different on each side. So essentially we see different bugs crawling on, around, I guess through, since he's kind of a slime monster. He does come with this rotten pizza box, as well as 2 printed circle pieces for flies, and this kind of the fish bones. And the detailing for the slime and trash carries onto the back. One really cool part of this minifigure is going to be that his headpiece, he is a pumpkin or a jack-o'-lantern that is rotting. So while it's pretty nasty, pretty gross, pretty detailed, fits really, really well for this figure. This kind of just reminds me of like those Garbage Pail Kids, and those always kind of weirded me out and grossed me out, and this character is right there with them. Now, we have seen this kind of slime head piece before. We saw him, I believe, with LEGO Video, the Bandmates, those are the Blind Boxes Series 2 with kind of this slime monster who looked really cool with kind of lots of glitter. And then this past summer, so summer 2025, the Build a Minifigure, they had included this kind of see-through, no printing, slime green kind of headpiece that I kind of put over this. I don't know if that's like a slime monster or an alien face, but it kind of works really well. So I'm happy they brought this back. I would be interested in seeing this in another color if it's not green. I just would prefer we go in the direction of like slime character opposed to trash character. Next up, in spot number 7, is Mysterious Ronin, who I believe, if I'm following Ninjago lore, is Lloyd from an alternate timeline or alternate universe. So this minifigure looks really cool. That is a sculpted piece there with his kind of hood and hair together. Really awesome detailing there we see on both the arms and then as well the torso carrying onto the legs. And then he has some pretty cool accessories as well. Here we can see kind of that torso printing and his face print that is not covered up. I really like that he has those green eyes. I'm guessing that, again, I don't watch LEGO Ninjago, and I don't think I own any other LEGO Ninjago minifigures. I thought I had a red or blue character at one point when it was a give with purchase, but I don't think I have that anymore. And here we can see his alternate face print, a little bit more stoic there. Once again, those green eyes really stand out. We don't see that a ton with minifigures, and I like how he kind of has the ability to hold his sword there on the back. And I've removed that sword so that you can see the back torso printing and also kind of get a little view of the arm printing of those 2 different colors, and as well as the dual molded legs there with the black and the green. So all in all, this character ranks so high for me, not because I'm huge into Ninjago, which I think if you were, it'd be a bit higher, just because I really like the color scheme. That dark green is one of my favorite colors, especially for like a torso or leg prints. And the detailing that went into him was pretty over the top with the dual molding, with the printing, kind of all these additional pieces. So all in all, pretty solid figure. And sadly, like I said, I do not have any other Ninjago or Lloyd figures to compare this to. I guess I might have a couple ninjas, but you know, not really in the same vein or detail of this character. Coming in at number 6 for me is going to be the Tuba Player. This is a character I wasn't super excited about when the list was released, and when I first saw the leaked images, he also didn't stand out to me, but I actually really like that gold sculpted tuba piece, and I like all of the detailing we see there on his uniform. For me, I just think there's some really cool detailing there on the legs. You can even see kind of the black for his shoes, as well as the torso there. Here we can see that some of that detailing on the legs carries onto the side, which looks really, really good. There's not much in terms of back torso printing, and there is no alternate face print. But this character makes it high on my list just because of how much I liked him and didn't expect to. I don't yet have the Shopping Street, that modular, but it does come with a few, looks like marching band minifigures. So I'd be interested in buying more of this Tuba Player, kind of getting them some new instruments and putting with my Shopping Street kind of an extended marching band. The color scheme of his outfit does remind me a lot of the kind of Nutcracker that we got a few CMF series back, kind of with the red and the white and the black, but they do have very different vibes, but I just want to kind of display them next to each other. I do really like how the LEGO CMF series introduces new instrument molds for some of these pieces. Now, the gold looks good, but I actually far prefer the gold that we got earlier with the saxophone player. I think it just looks a little bit better with that kind of metallic shine or sheen to it. So I would have preferred that, but given just how big this tuba piece is, I'm guessing that probably would have been too costly for production. But all in all, I'm happy with this guy, and you can see myself buying a few more to add a marching band to my shopping street. And coming in at number 5 for me is the Nice Witch. I really like this minifigure. For me, every kind of minifigure series is always one character that I most associate with the CMF line. And for me, this witch is who I associate the most with Series 29. I think it's just kind of the most different, unique with some of the coloring here. I really like the new hair hat combo that we see. I'm hoping we see that recolored and used in LEGO Harry Potter. I thought that light blue was kind of a unique choice for her as well. I don't love the cat accessory, mostly because I think it looks a bit like a dog, but it's fine. I really like the printing there on her legs with the cat socks. I like kind of the inclusion of that, old 90s wizarding wand. It's kind of a fun to see they still include that in sets. I definitely think the torso is like anime inspired, kind of the big bow. It's fine. It's not my favorite part of the minifigure, but it doesn't detract from it either. And I do like the use of that skirt piece. Here we can see the minifigure's alternate facial expression, as well as some of the detailing here on the back of the torso. While this figure doesn't have any printing on the side of her arms, I do want to point out again that her legs are dual molded with kind of the white for the cat sock and then also that light blue. We have seen quite a few witches kind of hair and hat combos, so I'm really excited to see how this one recolors and what other themes it kind of bounces and jumps into as well. And of course, as someone that collects LEGO Harry Potter, I'm, like I said, especially interested to see what Harry Potter characters, such as some of the professors, might get this new hairpiece in the future. So these are the 4 minifigures that kind of fall in the center, spots 8 through 5, as I rank CMF Series 29. In terms of getting duplicates, like I said, I am interested in getting doubles of the Tuba Player. I might get one more double of the Witch and maybe put her somewhere in my LEGO Harry Potter display. Definitely don't want extras of that trash monster. I'm not even entirely sure where to put him. He'll probably be in the back of one of my modulars, so barely visible, in and around one of the dumpsters that so many of those sets come with. And I, like I said, I just don't collect LEGO Ninjago, so I'm sure a lot of people really like that figure and can appreciate him, and I'm happy with just the one in my collection. Moving on next for spot number 4 for me is the Chocolatier, and I do recognize I'm probably ranking this character a lot higher than most people do. And for me, it's just because it kind of checks a lot of boxes for the types of minifigures or the types of accessories that I like to collect in my collection. I really like just kind of normal jobs that you'll find in a city. So even though Chocolatier is kind of strange, I like getting more of this chef's hat for various kind of bakeries or restaurants that I have in my LEGO city. Also, I really like getting that dragon piece in brown. And so kind of adding that to some of my Dungeons and Dragons displays, I think is really, really nice. I've removed the kind of piping bag so that we can see her torso print. Nothing too special there about the torso print. I think just a normal, kind of worker's outfit. Same thing with the legs, kind of the apron carrying down to the legs is something we've seen before. I do really like the side arm printing, how it's kind of a short sleeve. And there is nothing too special here on the back. She does have a nice kind of neutral, well, actually not neutral, it's pretty happy, alternate facial expression. But it's actually this kind of tongue out, more focused as she's creating that dragon that I really like for her face prints. Like I said, the reason this character jumps so high on the list for me is definitely that dragon piece in brown. That is a piece that I would love to see in many LEGO different colors, similar to kind of the frog. It's just kind of really fun it would be fun to collect all of those different variations of the dragon. And I really like the fact that we've gotten a recoloring of that kind of hair and hat combo. When we first saw the figure, I wasn't sure if it was a recoloring or if it's going to be a new piece. So I'm happy to be able to compare them, and you can see kind of the same, twisted bun style for the hair there in the back. And so I think that works really well in both of those colors. In third place for me is the Bionicle Cosplayer, and I do recognize this is, again, usually 1 or 2 on most people's list. And I think this is a really great figure, so I don't want to, take away from that. I just was never huge into Bionicles, so I can really appreciate a lot of the detailing that we see here on both the legs and torso. I really like that accessory there on the right, kind of that little cylinder piece to represent kind of the little cylinder plastic cups that the Bionicles came in if you were to buy them. And for me, one of my favorite parts of this figure is actually the detailing there with the gear piece printed there on the back. And I really like how the kind of helmet piece for the Bionicle comes off, and we can actually see the guy in the costume below. So we can see a little bit of his face smiling, which I think works really well. I like the pink bandana or headband. And all in all, it's a great figure, like similar to that dragon piece. I would love to see them release additional kind of Bionicle Cosplayer type figures. I think it's really fun getting that helmet piece. Those are kind of similar to the way the Bionicle heads or helmets came off anyway, so I think that's really nice how they connected it. So it'd be cool to see this in different colors to represent some of the different characters from Bionicle. Just for me, I think I'm going to stick with the one in my collection. I can really appreciate what this is, and I love the idea of LEGO throwback minifigures to just previous sets or themes, and so I'm always in support of that. So I'm really a fan of this Bionicle character. Just for me, it hits the third spot in terms of what I think are the best minifigures from this CMF series. He does remind me a bit of that Power Ranger looking guy we got with the CMF Series 20, but I'm really excited for the LEGO Ideas Power Rangers set to be made, hopefully coming out this year or early 2027, and I'm hoping it isn't too expensive because I will almost certainly be buying that. In second place for me is going to be the Monster Hunter. This is, again, a character that just does so much right for what I collect and how I display my LEGO displays. I really like her flaming blade there. I think that looks really nice, and here we can see some of the printing there on her arm. She, of course, has a ton of great printing both on the legs as well as the torso, and I really like that kind of hair hat combo. Once again, I'd be interested to see that recolored. She does remind me a bit of the villain from Dr. Sleep, so that was kind of funny, but I also like kind of her face print here. She does have a more jovial alternate facial expression. However, her back torso printing, is quite sinister there, and she does come with a skirt piece, that fabric skirt piece that kind of is like a half skirt. Additionally, she comes with this printed tile piece that says reward, and there is a picture of a vampire. We see these kind of wanted posters with LEGO One Piece that I collect, and it looks like the new LEGO Harry Potter Summer 2026 Diagon Alley Nocturne Alley is going to have some wanted posters as well. And so they're kind of the same size, and obviously there's not a huge overlap. It is kind of fun for a LEGO collection or display to have those in multiple different scenes. As far as I can tell, she is hunting the vampire from the LEGO 3-in-1 Haunted House. I bought that set. It was a ton of fun to build all three of those. And so I have quite a few, hidden side, kind of monstery, Halloween-y type displays. So this character will fit in really well there. Similarly, I do think this hunter has a bit of a steampunk vibe. It's not obviously as extreme as the actual steampunk minifigure, but I think you can definitely display these characters with each other, and kind of the looks of their outfits, kind of some of the detailing on the torso as well as legs fit well together. So I will almost certainly buy one of these figures to display with the steampunk guy, and one to have in one of my kind of Halloween displays. So overall, the Monster Hunter, really cool. Maybe I'll get a third one to display with my Monster Fighter characters. I'm not really sure, but I'm a huge fan of her. Really happy with her inclusion. This is kind of like random, unique type of minifigure that really fits well with the type of characters that I collect and displays that I make. And for me, in first place is going to be the Unicorn Elf. In general, I tend to collect a lot of LEGO Castle. And while this, is castle adjacent, I think for me, it's really the unicorn figure that puts this one over the top. The minifigure has a lot of great detailing, both on the torso as well as the dress piece. And I also like the detailing they've included there on her crown, kind of that combination of her hair and crown piece. And I'm not sure if the light's picking it up, but her hair is it's a gold color, so not so much blonde. It is more of a gold. I really like the alternate face print with the closed eyes there, and I like kind of all the silver embellishments that continue on the back of the torso and skirt piece. And while her clear cup accessory is very, if someone knows what that's supposed to represent, or is there some lore between unicorns, why she would include a clear cup specifically, please let me know. But if you look, I really like the detailing on her torso. Kind of her necklace is in the shape of a unicorn horn. And of course, the accessory of this unicorn. Really cool coloring there with the gold mane. And I like that unicorn piece as well. And here we can see it from the other side. So there's still, of course, that printing, but we're not going to get the mane kind of on both sides of the horse's neck or the unicorn's neck. We, of course, have seen a forest elf before, and all in all, it's kind of just a fun character that I'm usually excited for as I expand some of kind of my fantasy scenes. Again, LEGO Castle as a theme is probably my favorite outside of Harry Potter, and so while the unicorn elf herself, I'm ranking this minifigure as the first in the series. While she, alone, maybe would make the top, probably still make the top three, actually, looking at the others. But it's the inclusion of the unicorn piece that pushes her to my favorite, because I want a few of those in my collection. And I just wanted to kind of compare her here to the Scarlet Witch. Obviously, the hair piece is different, but when I think of kind of this long flowy hair with printing, the Scarlet Witch is who I first think of. So I was curious to see kind of the similarities and differences. And I do like how the unicorn elf, it's a bit wavier. And I really like how some of those curls fall there in the back. I think it's a bit more detailed, a bit more, mystical than what we've seen previously with similar hairstyles. So for me, that actually also makes the character a bit stronger. All right, so those are my top four from this CMF series. I just think this was, like I said, such a strong CMF series. A lot for people to collect in terms of individual pieces, torso prints, accessories. So I'm really, really happy with this. Ultimately, I really, really like the unicorn elf, the monster hunter, the Bionicle Cosplayer, the Chocolatier. These just have a lot of use in my LEGO collection, and I hope that we see these type of characters in the future.
Thank you so much for tuning in. If you want to stay updated with LEGO leaks, rumors, news, and reviews, hit the subscribe button down below. But let me know what you think of my ranking from worst to first of the LEGO CMF Series 29. Which characters do you have at the top of your list, and what characters should be on the bottom? And what minifigures do you hope LEGO releases in our next CMF series? Now, we already have a spoiler alert for what we expect to get in August of 2026, and those are to be minifigures based on Shrek. I'm really interested to see those, but let me know what you think. Thanks so much.